episode. There we go. My name is Thad Burkamper, and I'm sitting here with Pam Saturnia, and I'll give you a little bit insight about me. She'll give you a little bit of insight about her. I went through a borderline manic episode last Saturday that was trying to reconcile the God that I grew up with, which was, my grandfather was a pastor in this church that we're sitting in a church right now. My grandfather was a pastor. He taught specific, from the Bible, God stuff. But then him also being my grandfather, he also taught me kind of outside of the Bible God stuff with just enjoying being outdoors and enjoying the rain and his sense of humor and his way he thought. And through, I went to this church up until high school and then have moved around to a couple different churches after that. And since then have not really been in church since probably 19 years old. And I'm 38 now, which is nuts. So I've been out of church as long as I've been in church. But that hasn't stopped my experience of what I'm going to call, just for the sake of keeping things straight, I'm going to call the God thing. Just so that if I'm referencing the God that you're speaking about, Pam, I'll say God. And if I'm referencing the one that I'm speaking about, which I think at the end of this we're going to realize is the same thing. But so last Saturday, Rachel was with one of her girlfriends. They were out causing trouble somewhere. And I was just in a moment on my back deck. It was dark. I actually turned the lights off on the back deck. It was dark. I got down to my underwear. I turned on good music and I danced. And I was kind of projecting my heart or my soul into the everything around us. And I was also literally reaching out and grabbing parts of the everything and pulling it towards me. And I could feel it. Like I could see it and I could feel it. I was like, there's that part that I want. There's health, there's wealth, there's connection, there's creativity, there's and I just had this 15 to 20 minute dance party. And then I messaged you. And the message was, I want your brain. I'm not looking for an immediate response. I would just love your input. I have a discernment issue between the God you, parenthetically, maybe I mean the church, preach, and the God that I connect with. It's heavy and its roots are strong. I've come to know God as a force of everything, the water, the infinite flow of the cosmos, and of my will. I don't care, parenthetically again, I think his teaching is interesting about Jesus necessarily as the door through which one must find God. I find God in the grass and my sons and wife and the animals that seem to multiply effortlessly around our house. I find God in the clouds tonight and the smell of rain and the memory of my grandparents. I cannot fathom a God who cares at all about how one finds him as much as that one finds him. I believe we were called to cast off disparity and pain and pull in joy and abundance, not pull in, bring forth. How do I honor the God that my grandfather served while experiencing my own connection? One that includes Buddha, John Lennon. I put Andy Kaufman, but I had Jim Carrey in my brain, which makes sense. My mom and every teacher who surrounds us. One that isn't tied to one way in. I believe in aliens and mediums. I believe we have a connection to the world around us that cannot be served by outside forces. I hate the phrase jealous God, because that seems restricting and little and man-made. I believe the only message the Bible has to offer is love, and the rest, pardon my factory worker, is shit. How do I meld my upbringing with my outside experience? I've always had a ridiculous place of love for you in my deepest soul, and so I thought maybe you'd be able to articulate what I'm missing. This all comes after I had a dance party on my back deck with whatever it is I'm talking about, good music and abundant love and capability flowing through me. It was just me and the sky, and I was there 100% with God and the power offered up. It was freeing and beautiful, and without effort or audience, I loved it. So that's where I'm coming from.
Right.
Tell us where you're coming from.
Right. Well, Well, Thad, I've known you a long time.
Sorry.
That's okay. I was pastor of this church early on as an associate pastor, worked with kids and youth, and so I've known you since you were about 4 years old, I think. Um, and I feel privileged, number one, that you trust me with this. Uh, I don't think we're too far apart at all
Okay.
on what we're thinking. But um, you know, the church, for better or for worse, um, sometimes
Time out. I'm sorry.
yes. Mm-hmm. You want what I think?
No.
No.
I want. So I've been out of the church as long as I've been in the church.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You went to school
Right.
to become a pastor straight
Right.
out of high school?
Right.
Okay.
Well, no. Yeah. Kind of. Yeah. You want me to talk about that?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Sure.
I
Sure. Sure.
want where we're
You want?
both coming from.
Okay. That kind of coming from. Sure.
Yep.
I'm happy to do that. Okay. So before um, I became a minister, I knew I wanted to be a school teacher or a minister. At least I felt called to those professions. So I went to college to become a teacher, and during that time, felt very much called to ministry. And so I ended up teaching middle school for a year in Orange, New Jersey.
What does that call feel like?
That call, that's a good question. That call has never for me been something audio. It's been a pull. It's been something in my gut that I just know is right.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really hard to explain. But it's when I made the decision uh, to go to seminary or to at least apply and follow that path, it felt right. And I try to pay attention to moments that made that happen or help that feeling to be recognized, maybe. In college, I was very active with our um, college campus stuff, but I think one of the turning points for me was the Thanksgiving service at our school. One person is asked to preach, a student, and I was asked to preach my senior year. And the process of doing that and being in that place, that felt like where I needed to be. And so uh, I continued to wrestle with that, and I wrestled with, you don't have to be a minister to serve God at all. And I
Was
think,
that wrestle because you didn't want to be a minister?
no, I was happy to do that. I just wanted to make sure I was following God's will at
Yeah,
that time.
yeah,
And
yeah.
I don't know if, I'm not so sure now, looking back. I would probably tell my young adult self that that there wasn't a bad choice in that, right? There was still
Right.
I mean, whatever I would have picked,
Mm-hmm.
that's there wasn't a not following God's will. I don't think, but I just have always found in the church and in the community of the church, one, a place where as a young person I felt acceptance, but also as a person who saw people at their best,
Mm-hmm.
sometimes people at their worst, but
Mm-hmm.
some people
Yeah,
at
yeah.
their best, trying to make the world a better place uh, and living out what their core values, their faith was calling them to do. And that was always appealing to me and always felt like home to me.
Mm-hmm.
And so yeah, so I applied to go to seminary, and then there's other Presbyterian things you have to do um, to to be ordained. You can't just simply say I want to do this. You have to be approved by your home church and then the presbytery and things like that. So I did that, um, and went to Princeton, and then from there was called here, which then I was ordained to ministry. I was called here as the associate pastor in 1991. So
So is that a literal call? Like,
literal.
hey, we have a job.
It's
You are meant to
it's
be here.
it's a process of that. It starts out like most jobs do.
Yeah.
Um, hey, we're looking for an associate pastor, and here's our write up, and it's a little more intense than that. And then I'm writing up a personal information form which talks about me and where I feel called and my beliefs and things like that. And so it did come as a literal call from Muscatine. I was working in the library at Princeton, and I got a call from Mick Black saying, hey, we have
Really?
this. Would you be willing to have an interview with us? And I had to look where Muscatine, Iowa was, to be
Yep.
honest. But, but yeah, so then it started a process of, phone interviews and then a one-on-one interview. And when I was brought here, and the way the process works is it's very stealth, meaning the committee knows you're here, you're interviewing with the committee, and then you go to a different church to preach. And so, the congregation doesn't even know you exist yet. Um, and but by the end of that weekend, I I knew this was the place I wanted to be.
The city or the building?
The people,
Yeah, 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 yeah. Okay, cool.
people, yeah.
Very cool. And that was how long ago?
That was 34 years ago.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
yeah, a long
awesome.
time ago. Yeah,
34 years ago. So,
yeah,
yes, I was 4 years old.
yeah.
Okay, so then our paths converge
Yes,
because I'm 4 years old
yes.
and mom brings us here pretty much every Sunday.
Right,
Like I said, grandpa used to be a minister here
Mister.
as
That's
well.
right. That's
So
right.
my whole family was here,
Right.
extended family, on my mom's side. And so that meant Sunday school,
Mm-hmm.
that meant confirmation,
Yep.
that meant us being pain in the neck middle schoolers and high schoolers.
Fun. Yep.
And all of that,
Mm-hmm.
for me, I remember I remember you.
Mm-hmm.
I remember grandpa being one of the um, I want to say Sunday school teachers,
Mm-hmm.
I think, for a minute.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and that's really the extent
Mm-hmm.
of like my memories.
Yeah.
And of doing, we were all for the most part pretty good kids.
You were.
But I specifically remember being in the balcony
Mm-hmm.
and just let's bow our heads and pray, and then you would just see shoulders next to you start going because they're laughing about something and you
Right.
don't know what they're laughing about,
Right.
but just the fact that they're laughing.
That's right. And it's contagious.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's everybody should be quiet right now. We can't handle it.
Right.
So that's that. And then high school
Uh-huh.
comes and goes.
Yeah.
I go get a real human job,
Yeah.
and then I'm out.
Mm-hmm.
You continue on
Yep.
doing the thing.
Yep.
My experience, and I think what you were about to say before I interrupted you
Mm-hmm.
was the issue that a lot of people have, and this is fact, is not necessarily the book.
Right.
It's not the building.
No.
You either find the right people or you don't.
Mm-hmm.
And because there is an element of power
Mm-hmm.
that comes from being a pastor,
Mm-hmm.
the wrong people can get into those positions.
Mm-hmm.
And even though they think they're doing the right thing, bull in a china shop.
Right.
They're doing more damage than good.
Mm-hmm.
And I had some of that as experience.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was happy to run away from that. Not
Mm-hmm.
here.
Right.
All of my memories of this building and the people in it
Mm-hmm.
are positive.
Good.
But the church as a whole, right?
Right. Right.
And so I kind of went and did my own thing.
Yeah.
Turned off that completely.
Yeah.
Probably went through some existential things with how I grew up
Yeah.
and the humans in the church that were doing church wrong,
Yeah.
and was fine and comfortable turning all that off
Yeah.
and then just living.
Yeah.
Then I got married.
Yeah.
I got married to a woman that can feel across the room that somebody's having a bad day
Yeah.
and didn't at the time have the power to turn that off.
Right.
So she was just absorbing.
Yeah.
And that's nuts because whether or not that's in the book,
Mm-hmm.
it's not preached on necessarily, right? It's not the subject of sermons. And then we were visiting my wife's aunt who
Mm-hmm.
had just moved within Cincinnati, had just moved to a new house.
Mm-hmm.
And we had the MapQuest all printed out.
Right.
And
Those were the days.
she was in charge of navigating.
Mm-hmm.
And my wife is not great at navigating,
Okay.
even when MapQuest is printed out in front of her.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, what's our next move? We were in the middle of some small town,
Mm-hmm.
and she was fumbling through papers. She'd never been to this new house.
Mm-hmm.
And she said, it's railroad tracks and a red barn. And she's just saying that out
Mm-hmm.
loud.
Mm-hmm.
And she's looking through papers to see where we are and what our next move is.
Mm-hmm.
And as soon as I said, what? Da-dump, da-dump,
Railroad
railroad
tracks.
tracks. And then we look to the right and there's this huge red barn.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I guess I'm going that way.
Mm-hmm.
And I went that way. And a little while later, she caught up on the MapQuest
Right.
and we were right.
Right. Right.
What the hell? Also,
Right.
my mom and I were on our way up to UNI when I was probably 15
Uh-huh.
or 16. My mom and I love to drive.
Mm-hmm.
We do not need to fill space
Right.
with noise.
Right.
So we were probably sitting there for 45 minutes in silence.
Mm-hmm.
And then out of nowhere, she said, 7 pounds, 13 ounces, 21 and a half inches long. And as a 16-year-old, I don't know what that means.
That's right.
We're going up to UNI because my brother's wife, Alyssa, was having her first grandchild.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know what those numbers mean.
Right.
And I ask her what. In good Meg Dindinger style, she just kind of smiles at me, doesn't explain it. We get up to the hospital. Mm-hmm. Alyssa is mid-labor, like she is, kid's probably halfway out, right?
Right.
And first thing that I hear from Drew when he walks out with Lucas, the first grandchild, is 7 pounds, 13 ounces, 21 and a half inches long. I can't tell you what the measurements are on my son's.
Right.
But I remember that.
His, yeah, right. Yeah.
Because I looked over at Mom, and she gave me this, like little smirky, told you, look. Mm-hmm. And again, we're not getting sermons on that.
Right. Right.
So there's some connection.
Well, and you might even be getting sermons that are anti that.
Well, yes.
Yeah, I mean,
yes,
not
thank
just
you.
on that, but yeah, right.
So I'm having these experiences that talk about information, power, sensitivity, and then Rachel can just pull information out of nowhere, and it's true information.
Right.
And she'll say, "I was thinking something about," and she'll say a word, and it's usually one letter off.
Okay.
So if the word is candle, she gets the word scandal.
Gotcha.
If the word is pug, she gets the word bug.
Okay.
It's always one letter off.
Right.
But she'll be talking to her friends who are going through a thing. And she knows things about her friends, but she doesn't know these particular instances. The pug thing comes from one of her friend's grandparents who've been long gone, and her grandma just said, "love bug," and to her friend.
Right.
And they come to find out, no, that means love pug.
Right.
Love, comma, pug.
Pug.
So there's all this.
Right.
And I'm kind of unless I let the persona take over, and it's my job to keep the party going, or to make sure everybody's laughing, like during a funeral, make sure there's some splash of laughter every, that's something that I developed as a kid, and has served me, I guess. But I've learned to let that be its own thing.
Good.
And so unless I'm that, I'm pretty reserved. And I don't necessarily want to hug you hello and goodbye. I don't necessarily need to put in my 2 cents. Or I'm trying to kill that, actually, because that part of the persona comes out a lot. But I don't necessarily care what's happening around me. And I'm pretty analytical. But I have moments where this outside information, like Mom calling the measurements, Rachel calling these Hail Mary, I don't know, just information, and I don't have a place to put it.
Right.
In my understanding of what's going on.
Right.
And then I have a moment like last Saturday night.
Right.
Where I don't cry easy. Not true. With music, I cry super easy.
Okay.
Music is the thing. A good harmony can make me tear up. But I don't, I can think about my sons and I can think about them growing up and I can just be excited for that. That doesn't bring me to tears.
Right.
I can even think about all the bad things that could happen.
Mm-hmm.
And that doesn't necessarily do it.
Mm-hmm.
It just puts me in what's next mode.
Mm-hmm.
So for me to have a moment like last Saturday where I was on the verge of tears
Yeah.
from joy
Right.
and from connection
Right.
and from feeling it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I know there's something to be said about mega churches and their band,
Mm-hmm.
but there's also something to be said about just having a good base with a group of people. Eventually, you're all there and you're going to feel it, regardless of what the message of the song is.
Right.
So I was feeling it, and I
Mm-hmm.
didn't have a group of people,
Right.
and I was like, "What is this?"
Right. Right.
And that's what brought us to
To this
this.
point. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So the the only thing I had for this particular session was to
Mm-hmm.
define God.
Right.
And I think you and I just need to play tennis with that
Sure.
and figure out, nope, not figure out, just bat
Back and
ideas
forth.
around.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because there's a guy I work with,
Mm-hmm.
and he is very by the book,
Mm-hmm.
by the book.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll ask him, do you know that the book was assembled? And there are things that are left out.
Mm-hmm.
And there are things specifically put in when they're put in.
Mm-hmm.
Like, do you know that? He
Mm-hmm.
goes, no, it was written by God.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, okay. He just had a baby girl.
Uh-huh.
And I said, so when do you plan on selling her?
Yeah. Right. How much do you want for it?
Right.
Right.
Is
Yep.
like two goats good?
Yeah. Right. Exactly.
You know.
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
he just gave me this look like, what are you talking about? I said, if you're really by the book,
Right.
you're wearing garments made of multiple,
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You're already.
you
You've
know what I
got
mean?
money in the
You're
bank.
already
You're
screwed.
already in trouble.
We're
Right.
already
Right.
going to hell.
Yep. Yep.
So the book is where I have some issues.
Oh, yeah. Me too.
And even okay, so that's not true. Old Testament's where I have issues.
Oh, I have issues over different portions of the whole thing. So yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
my understanding of God is just that this it's the God thing
Mm-hmm.
is this potential.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost like a void, and you can
Mm-hmm.
put whatever you want into it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a potential for connection, and
Mm-hmm.
it's a potential for creativity,
Mm-hmm.
and it's a potential to love
Mm-hmm.
outside of you.
Right.
I think without this God thing,
Mm-hmm.
you almost can't love outside of you,
Yeah.
and you might not be able to love you.
Right.
I think I think it's a conduit for things like Rachel being able to pull information. I think it's a conduit for blessings like
Mm-hmm.
mediumship
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and sensitivity
Right.
and so go.
Okay. Well, I'm thinking a lot of things, as
Yeah.
you might imagine. But I want to say that one thing I value about being Presbyterian is that we value education and scholarship and, um, you know, studies and all that stuff. So we like science. We
Hmm.
like, um, so there are so many ways that we know God. And it's not just through the Bible, and it's not just through the church, and it's not just through praying, and it's not just through all those typical things you'd think a churchy Christian person or a
Hmm.
person of faith would be. Um, but I think when I think about God, I mean, when I'm hearing you talk about this experience, and when I first read your message, I thought of that's a God moment. That He is just in touch with whatever you want to call it,
Hmm.
Holy Spirit, with God, the divine somehow.
Yes.
There is, and Celtic folks call that a thin place,
Hmm.
meaning that there where.
Oh, I already know what it means. Go ahead.
Okay, then
No,
I'll
no,
let
no.
you know.
I've never heard the explanation, but I know based on the words what it's going to mean.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
please explain.
Well, that's when we tend to think of the earthly world and the heavenly world, for lack of a better word, as being so far apart, but it's when they come very close
Yes.
together and
Yeah, yeah,
touch,
yeah.
right? I'm not even sure that's
It's like when the grease turns the napkin see-through.
Yeah, right, exactly, exactly.
Yeah.
To me, I was thinking, wow, he's having that experience, and what a wonderful thing.
Uh-huh.
Um, and so, yeah, I think that you picking out what you want, that's just such a great image. Picking out what you wanted, those
Mm-hmm.
blessings that you wanted, um, and needed, not just wanted, but I think needed. Um, that just is a beautiful image to me. And the when we talk about God, so many of us, especially if we're raised in the church, think about the white-haired old man,
Yeah.
in the sky,
Robes with
deep
a halo.
voice. Yeah, exactly. And I that does not that image does not is not helpful for me,
No. No.
at all.
It's counterproductive.
It is counterproductive,
Yeah.
as a matter of fact. It does a lot of things. It it Paul Tillich, who is a theologian, talked about God as being the ground of all being.
Mm-hmm.
And I, if we take seriously that God created the universe, then God is part of everything, which really does affect how we value other things other than people. It's what we were talking about, animals, plants, the universe, nature. That if we cannot value those things, then we are not valuing God, because
Mm-hmm.
God made them. And God asked us to take care of those things, not to have, I know the Bible translates have dominion, but that's really not have dominance over. That is really, the Hebrew word is to take care of. And I can't even think of what the actual Hebrew word is, but it means really just to take care of, to
Like
steward.
cultivate.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, make everything grow and be the best they can be, including humans, but including nature.
Mm-hmm.
And so, um, yeah, and so I think God is part of everything and every person, regardless. And let me say this clearly, regardless of whether they believe in the same God, I think it is the same God, but Jesus, or whoever,
Yeah.
Buddha. I believe God created us all,
Yeah.
and God is a part of us all. And I don't know how you cannot think that, but a lot of people don't.
Yeah.
And even, I would say, probably people who go to the mainline churches in Muscatine, I think we've all been taught that the only way is through Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
And um, that is my way. That's the way I mean, I
Yeah.
believe in Christ, and that the Christian faith has been part of uh, who I am, and I've intentionally embraced that. Right, I've had an opportunity to think about,
Sorry, intentionally.
intentionally embraced it.
Oh, okay, go
Right,
ahead.
so it's not just, I grew up in the church and I just go to church because I went to church, and
Right.
right, I had seminary really does give you an opportunity to say, yep, this is what I believe, and to try to refine that. But it also, what we believe, I hope, changes over the years. I hope that my confirmation self, I'm not the same person I was when I was
Yeah,
confirmed.
that'd be
And
sad,
it would
right?
be very sad. It would be extremely
So
sad.
what's that, fifth grade?
That's like eighth grade. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
eighth grade.
right?
Yeah, yeah. Like, because I know so much in eighth grade,
That'd be
right? Yeah.
horrible.
It would be, yeah, even though eighth graders have written, that I've known, have written beautiful statements of faith.
Sure.
It's not that. It's just, your life experiences. And if we believe that God created everything, that means that the sacred is all around us in our everyday experiences.
Yeah.
And sometimes we pay attention and sometimes we don't.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how you could not pay attention to what happened to you, right? That
Yeah.
was so big.
Yeah.
But there's also little things that we don't pay attention to or don't think about as being holy. I mean,
Yeah.
and so yeah, so that's kind of where I'm coming from. It's how I approach other people, and it's how I approach life. And it is hard. I mean, as a preacher, what is difficult is you have a very short amount of time, and you can't have a conversation. That's not a conversational time,
Yeah.
right? So, I mean,
It's intentional word spew
it
in
is.
hopes to give somebody something to connect to.
That's right.
Yeah.
And you're hoping in that moment that, I mean, I believe that the Holy Spirit is working, because well, I'll tell you why in a minute. But
Yeah.
the hope is that the Holy Spirit is working, and that you're being used as a vehicle for good in that moment. Because I'm human, right? And I'm being asked to, I don't want to speak for God, but in that
Mm-hmm.
moment, raise up thoughts about a particular biblical passage,
Yeah.
um, and and sometimes ones that are really hard to reconcile with
Yeah.
life, right? So can and I often will say that. I often will be honest to say I have a hard time with this.
This one's rough.
Right, this one's rough.
Yeah.
Um, but it's a very humbling experience to be preaching on a regular basis and trying to give people the space to make their own connections, right? It's not about people believing what I believe necessarily, but can we look at this Bible passage in our lives? How do we connect that? That's called hermeneutics. It's a big word, but how do we connect that to our lives today? And how do we do that in a way that isn't prescriptive for me? Now,
Yeah.
that's my view of
Yes.
preaching.
I appreciate that view
So
because I've been in churches that are not that.
that's right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I have too,
Mm-hmm.
and I yes, um, and so that I was asked one time. Well, actually, when I was leaving here after I was the associate pastor, I was being interviewed by the Muscatine Journal, and they said, if you had one sermon to preach, what would it be? And I was, God is love. That's it. That is the foundation from which I approach life, faith. If it doesn't, for me, if it doesn't come from there, then where does it come? It comes from a place of power. It comes
Yeah.
from a place of of something other than um, looking at another person or another person's life with knowing that they are of God and um, that God loves them, and that's enough.
What I immediately think of when you said
Mm-hmm.
that's the only sermon, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it really
It is.
is um, at Grandpa's funeral.
Mm-hmm.
What was the pastor's? I can't remember the pastor.
David Ivy.
Yep,
Mm-hmm.
Ivy. There you go. Told a story about Grandpa that he kind of got the congregation kind of riled
Mm-hmm.
about rock and roll today,
Yeah.
and this was in the '60s,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and intentionally
Mm-hmm.
led them into a place of being uh, upset
Yeah.
about rock and roll being the bane of his
Right.
existence and
Right.
it's going to take us all to hell.
Mm-hmm.
And then he played All You Need Is Love by the Beatles.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And, I don't remember the punchline necessarily
No.
as much as I can just imagine. And it's creating that void. It's
Right.
creating that
Mm-hmm.
where you are now
Mm-hmm.
and whatever you have caging you in,
Mm-hmm.
let's just kill that.
Yeah.
Let's
Yeah.
just stop and open
Yeah.
up
Yeah.
and really be aware of what we're saying. Don't
Right.
say it because the guy next to you said it.
Right.
If it's true to you,
Right.
say it.
Right.
Scream it, sing it,
Right.
whatever.
Right.
But yeah, that all that.
Well, and that love takes on so many different forms,
Mm-hmm.
right? So it's what living my life and out of love looks like for me will look different for you. I mean, the foundation's the same, in my
Right.
opinion.
Yeah.
But for some people, it is really taking care of kids, or maybe it's looking out for the elderly,
Yeah.
or animals,
Yep.
or the earth, or however or whatever way that outwardly is expressed can be different.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah. You could be an artist.
has to be.
You
And I
could be
mean,
a
it had to be
farmer.
boring if it wasn't. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Well, and I keep thinking that part of this back and forth may get very boring because we're mostly agreeing.
yes. Okay, I'll throw in some no.
Yeah. Right. No, but I
Yeah.
think it's really important in large part because that power of the position that
Mm-hmm.
you've chosen to take
Yeah.
very often does get get assumed in with even with good intentions by the
Yes.
wrong people.
Yes, it happens.
And so I think what's happening pretty prevalently is that people of my generation
Mm-hmm.
are done with church
Yeah.
because they're not seeing what we're talking
Right.
about.
Well, they're done with church, but they're not done with God. Right. They're
Well,
not done with spiritual things.
yeah, it's actually interesting because unless they full on, nope, wrong. I'm not even going to say that part. What's interesting is they almost it, in their mind they're doing a 180. They're like,
Mm-hmm.
no, this is not for me.
Right.
And then they go find the thing that pulls at them.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, it is. That's exactly
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
what this building was meant to be.
Mm-hmm.
You just didn't find it in the building, and
Right.
that's fine.
Mm-hmm.
But you did find it
Mm-hmm.
in your artisanal bread factory or
Right.
what, you know what I mean? Like
Right.
whatever hipster bullshit you want to talk about.
Right.
I mean, you found it,
Right.
and you're of service,
Mm-hmm.
and you're
You're living
in
out your call.
yeah, and you're in joy.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Mm-hmm.
you found it.
Right.
Sorry.
Yeah. I'm not going to tell them. You're going to tell them.
Yeah, right, right. Yeah, yeah. Keep that one on the down low so that they keep making their delicious bread
Yeah.
or their
Right.
sculptures or
Right.
whatever.
Right. You know, and I wrestle a lot with that, the loss that the church has suffered by this generation um, not finding it to be, I want to say authentic. Maybe that's a bad word.
No, I think that's
And having a way to speak to people where they are. And for so long, the churches, and I'm speaking very broadly and generally,
yep.
we've been trying to get back to 1950. And finally, I believe we are being able to say, we're not going to go back there, and we don't really want to go back
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
Right? I mean, that served its time and
What do
its
you
purpose.
so what do you mean by that though? What are
I
you
mean,
looking at
when,
1950?
right, that's right. That was a very insider kind of thing to say. That is when the churches were packed and
Yep.
everybody came to church for everything. It was the social, it was
Uh-huh.
the religious, and there's a lot of reasons for that. It was the only game in town for a
Uh-huh.
long time, right?
And it was I would be willing to bet
Mm-hmm.
that a good portion of that was it was the one day a week that women could force the family
Mm-hmm.
to get her the hell out of the house
Yeah,
and go connect
right.
with other people.
Well, yeah, and really the or honestly it
And
was
backstory, because most of them were housewives. Most of
right.
them was
That's
one
right.
income,
That's right. One
well,
income
one
families,
income
women
family.
working
He got
inside
to
the
go be
home.
with the guys
That's right.
all day, every day.
Right.
She was at home taking care of things,
Right.
and she's like, "We're going here."
Right. And I think that it was expected in some professions, in some
Oh,
places
sure.
of work,
Yep.
that your family would go to church.
Yeah.
So as the person who was, and it's usually the male, the father of the house, who would be working outside of the home, and that was also a reason why I think churches were so full, because it was, that was expected,
Mm-hmm.
whether it was spoken or unspoken, it was
Sure.
expected.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, women part of the reason the church was flourishing is because it had so many volunteers in the women who were not working outside of the home.
Yeah.
So we
They
could
wanted something to do,
they
a
wanted to
place to
connect.
fulfill
That's
themselves.
right.
Yeah.
And they did. I mean, that's where all the the women's organizations and churches really were created, so that women could be trained, if you will, to lead
Yeah.
in some way. And not that I don't know if they needed to be trained, but that's what they were
Of course
for.
not.
Right. But
Women have been running the nation, one family at a time,
well,
since the dawn of time.
I think that's true in a lot of ways. But I think society has also, made it. Society has constrained different people, including women, to to be in a particular role,
Yes.
and so and that's changing. I mean, that has changed dramatically. Well, over the course of my life, probably yours as well. Um, so that it's not only is it um, unusual if somebody says, I'm going to stay at home with my kids, whether it be the father or mother.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, you don't hear about that anymore,
Right.
right? You just, that happens, but it's not as prevalent as it once was. So yeah.
Oh,
Yes.
so 1950.
Yeah.
The church is trying to get back to 1950.
Yeah. Yeah.
Go ahead.
Well, trying to get back to 1950 by having the
Or
doors
it was.
busting over. It was. It's
Yeah.
not. I don't think we are anymore. Some might be, but I don't. This church I know is not.
Probably shouldn't be.
But that was a time that was everything. Think about it. It's after World War II, things were happening in our country that were so different.
Mm-hmm.
So the question then becomes, and churches had to ask, what do we, are we in this for the members, right? Just to get bodies in here? Or
Yeah.
are we in this to, and by this I mean being church and being a community of faith, are we doing this because we want to share this thing that we feel and have with other people? And that shift, I think, has been made in so many different congregations.
Mm-hmm.
Thank goodness. And so, the yes, of course, we'd love for people to join us if this is a place where they feel comfortable doing so. But that's not our goal anymore. Our
Mm-hmm.
goal is to say, okay, what is God calling us to in this time, in this place, and asking that over and over again. And it changes, right? It changes. Um, and what new thing is God doing among us?
Yeah.
And without dishonoring our past, because it was important. That's how we got here.
I would almost say new, just as far as our awareness that it exists.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not new that he's like, hey, I got this brand new idea.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
he's been offering the whole time.
Oh,
But
yeah.
us as a people
Yeah.
recognize
Right.
that there are other things happening,
Right.
and maybe we shouldn't burn the witches.
Right. Right.
You know what I mean?
And yeah, and what does church look like? I mean, does it look like being in a building like this, which is a very traditional building?
Right.
Um, and it doesn't have to look like this.
Yeah.
This community of faith is here, and one of the things we are beginning to ask ourselves, and we've asked it before, but we're asking again, is this: how do we be a good neighbor to the community, right? What does that look like? And so we have this space. What do we need to have this space only for us, or do we try to have other people
Oh,
be
that's
part of it?
beautiful.
Isn't that a good thing?
Yes.
So I'm gonna.
I think of Kevin McAllister walking into the church
Mm-hmm,
because it's open.
mm-hmm,
Not
mm-hmm,
not because it's any day of the week, because it's open.
right,
And there's anybody
right,
that just needed either a warm place, you're
yep,
serving by just having the heat on,
right,
or needed to hear the kids practicing,
right,
or just needed a moment. Like
right,
the church was just open.
yeah,
And I think about that all the time.
yeah,
Why are all of these doors locked?
yeah,
And I don't mean this building.
no,
I mean any church.
mm-hmm, yep. Well, yeah. I mean, there's all those practical things that kick in, don't they? But there's all the um, we're stewards of this space,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't think we've been given this space, or any church has been given their space to keep it empty 6 days out of the week.
Yeah.
Um, and I mean, I'm not the only one who feels this way. Or many folks in our church feel that way, and so we are really trying to dig in. The leadership of the church is trying to dig into. So, what would that look like? What does that look like for
Yeah.
us? And I'm so
There's that
grateful.
void again. And
It's,
what do we put in it?
well, and not only what do we put in it, but what are the needs, right? I mean, I think we used to approach mission, if you will, by saying, "Here's what you need," right? I don't
Yeah.
know you. I haven't talked to you
Yeah,
about what you
right.
need. But
I've
here's what
never
you
been
need.
to this country before,
That's
but
right.
here's some
That's
pancakes.
right. That's right.
Yeah.
Because you need those, right?
Yeah.
So in many ways, it's the same thing. What does our community need?
Yeah.
And is that something we can help with?
Yeah.
Right? I mean, we're not going to be able to conquer, say, affordable housing, but we can contribute to, and we have been, rehabbing houses with
Yeah.
MCSA so that there are more affordable, nice homes
Yeah.
out there for people. And so, yeah, that we can do that, but we can't build all the homes, but we can do our share.
And then that comes from a group of people who have decided that their God has called them to service.
Yep.
And it just comes out with good.
Right.
Like if you're really following it,
Yeah.
it's only good.
Yeah.
It may be ugly. It
Yeah.
may be brutal.
Yeah.
It may be really hard and send you home crying sometimes.
That's right. That's right.
But in the real calculus of it,
Right.
it's a net positive.
Oh yeah. I mean, if you think about it, we're not promised that anything is going to be easy
Yeah.
necessarily, but that doesn't mean it can't be joyful at times. But it also means it's a slug
Uh-huh.
sometimes, and
Yep.
you are really just trying to get through. or wondering why in the world are we even doing this,
Yeah.
right? Nobody, this isn't going to help anybody. I mean, you go through moments of all of those things sometimes. Um, and then that one person, the one person can change that by just knowing that you help them.
I think a big part of that is if you embrace the question marks.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, you have to.
Like you,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, I think there are divine inspiration
Mm-hmm.
moments
Right.
where you're just like,
Right.
I know the next four steps.
Yep.
But there are also those moments, Rachel thumbing through the map quest.
Right. Right.
You better just be open to it
Right.
because
Right.
there's a question mark there,
Right.
and it's going to be answered
That's right.
if you allow it to be.
Right. Right. Yeah. Martin Luther King Jr. talked about faith, that faith is seeing the first step, not the whole staircase. Right?
Yeah.
Isn't that good? And that's true,
Uh
right?
huh.
I mean, so much of life is mystery and faith and doing things because you feel like this is the next right thing,
Yeah.
right? Um, and I mean, I would characterize that as being called or as being led in some way. It might not be how you would characterize it,
Right.
that there's some kind of divine hand in it. But I also don't think God is a puppet out up there just moving us around on a,
Yeah. Yeah.
or on divine chessboard that, okay, you're going to ultimately end up here anyway, so it doesn't
Right.
matter. I don't believe that. Um, but,
That borderline nihilist
right,
point of view.
yeah, yeah.
Why are we even
Why we
attempting
bother?
anything?
Yeah, why
It's
bother?
going to happen or it's not.
That's right.
And then there's that surrender point of view. Why am I putting so much energy?
Right.
It's going to happen or it's not.
Right, that's right.
Like
That's right.
there's
Right.
the exact same words,
Yes,
but there's two ways to look at
that's
it.
right.
And
That's right.
the next right thing. So I don't know when I started, but I started doing Spartan races,
Oh yeah.
and I realized there's something undiagnosed with me, but I I can hyper focus on something
Yeah.
and then drop it and
Yeah.
then go to the next thing. So I've
Okay.
gotten pretty decent at a lot of things,
Right.
but Spartan really tapped into my brain
Mm-hmm.
because it tells you what your next 30 seconds is going to be.
Okay.
And you'll be running across the field. You'll see the jungle gym or whatever.
You
It's like,
know,
I just have to put 30 seconds of my best effort
into that.
into that.
Yeah.
That's it. And then I'll have a nice little jog to the next thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I think you may feel at points, I personally feel, you may feel at points, well, me from 19 to, 18 to probably 8 years ago or so,
Mm-hmm.
um, was me feeling like there wasn't a path.
Yeah. Okay.
And why do anything?
Right.
It's going to happen or it's not.
Right.
The nihilist side of
Right.
things, and and within that nothingness,
Mm-hmm.
there was all these steps happening
Yeah.
that I wasn't even really aware of.
Mm-hmm.
But afterwards, like once I started to see that maybe the ground was a little bit matted down again, like
Mm-hmm.
wait, is this? And then
Mm-hmm.
you just get hit in the back of the head with a sledgehammer
Mm-hmm.
of, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
look at all this stuff you went through.
Yeah.
Look at all this stuff you learned. And
Mm-hmm.
now that you're capable and
Mm-hmm.
open to it
Right.
and looking for the question marks,
Yeah.
look what you get to do.
Right. Right.
And it's nutso.
Right. It is, and I think when we talk about God and faith, I think the questions are just as important as the answers. I
They're
think
more important.
it leads you on a journey of discovery for answers, maybe, but that journey is what's important,
Yeah.
or it's as important as the answer, in
Yeah.
my opinion. But yeah, God is so much bigger than any of us can. My belief,
Yep.
God is bigger than what we can articulate, but there are things I believe that God is not. I
Uh-huh.
don't believe God is a judgmental judge
Yeah.
sitting up there, throwing lightning darts or condemning people or, causing weather to wreak havoc on
Right.
certain communities or
Yeah.
and to me that's not the God I know. If
I
I say God is love, then that's not loving,
yeah. There was so I moved to California in '07
right?
for a bit, and there was a book series. I don't read.
Mm-hmm.
Before we started recording, you offered me a book, and I
Yep.
told you that'd be a waste of time.
Yep.
But this book series I went through in like a week. It
Mm-hmm.
was 3 or 4 books, and it was called Conversations with God.
Yeah.
And I felt like I was being rebellious
Oh, okay.
because there's the book,
Right.
and then there's this series of 4 books where
Right.
this guy sort of did a free writing
Mm-hmm.
experiment
Mm-hmm.
where he would
Mm-hmm.
just write a question and then he would let the answer come to him.
Mm-hmm.
And it talked about like premarital sex
Yeah.
and how if if that's truly coming from love,
Mm-hmm.
that maybe that's okay. Like maybe that
Mm-hmm.
experience is one with God, as
Mm-hmm.
long as nobody's being duped.
Mm-hmm.
No, whatever.
Yep.
Like, but it took
Yeah.
on really hard stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
That when I'm 20, I'm like, oh, this is juicy.
Yeah.
You
Right.
know,
That's right.
like,
Yeah.
oh,
I can see
this
that. Yeah.
flies in the face
Right.
of
Right.
everything.
Right. Well, yeah, and the church has never handled sex well. Let's be
Thank you.
honest about
Yeah.
that.
Right.
I
Right.
mean, we don't. I mean, we
If at
yeah,
all.
if at all. Yeah, if we even tackle it at
Yeah.
all. That's probably not a good metaphor. But even if we, talk about it or express, say, we don't
Yeah.
because I don't know
But
why,
you've got a
but we don't.
congregation full of children,
Right.
and they got there somehow.
That's right. That's
So
right.
you know what I
That's
mean?
right.
So yeah,
Well, right.
but anyway, so I was
Yes.
reading this book, and
Yep.
it was just a free writing thing, and it tackled a lot of really what I considered at the time hard things to tackle,
Mm-hmm.
but the consistent like through line
Mm-hmm.
was love,
Yeah.
was you're going to learn.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Like you may try this and
Mm-hmm.
whatever. You may
Mm-hmm.
try this way of living,
Mm-hmm.
and you're going to take out from it
Mm-hmm.
some important thing
Right.
that fills in a part of you,
Mm-hmm.
a part of your broken house, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's
Mm-hmm.
just going to replace a broken brick with a good brick,
Yep.
and it's all good.
Mm-hmm.
Again,
Mm-hmm.
brutal,
Mm-hmm.
shitty, like
Mm-hmm.
tough,
Mm-hmm.
but good,
Yeah.
but for the good.
Right.
Another thing he said, which I think is interesting, was that God wanted to experience everything.
Mm-hmm.
And he was sitting in nothingness.
Mm-hmm.
And he says, oh, okay, I'll just bust myself into a billion pieces.
Right.
And I'll let those pieces become us
Oh, interesting.
and experience it.
That is a cool way
So,
to.
what
Yeah.
grinds my gears a little bit
Mm-hmm.
is when somebody posts the passage, I can do all things through.
Oh, Christ that strengthens.
Yeah,
Things.
it drives me nuts a little
Philippians
bit
4:13. Yeah.
because I want to shake them and be like, it's there. It's there.
Right.
You don't need
Mm-hmm.
a lightning bolt of
Mm-hmm.
inspiration. You just need to open yourself up to the thing that's already there.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
And it drives me nuts.
Yeah. There's a great line in a play for color girls who have considered suicide when the rainbow isn't enough by Ntozake Shangi. And one of the characters, that's a mouthful, I know.
Yeah, it's a
But
lot.
it says, I found God in myself and I loved her fiercely.
Good gravy.
Isn't that heavy?
Yeah. Yeah, it is.
And so, yeah, I mean, how do we help people love themselves the way God loves them, or to recognize that there is holiness and divinity within everything,
Yeah. Yes.
and how do we nurture that and love that in ourselves?
And it reminds me that some parents on the planet have to plan funerals for their kids.
Yes.
And where do we find that?
Yeah.
Where do we find everything we just talked about?
Right.
There. Because
Right.
it's not a lightning bolt and
No.
sin and whatever.
Right.
It's just a horrible situation.
It is just a horrible situation.
It's just a thing that
And
happens.
people say some of the most hurtful things unintentionally to people
Really?
in those situations. Well, I think saying like God just needed another angel.
Oh,
I think
no, he didn't.
right. God did not will this.
No.
This is something that happened because we're human, and whatever it was, whatever the circumstances, and it's terrible.
Yeah.
And to me, the most loving thing we can do as people of faith is to be able to sit with people in that grief and not try to explain it, and not try to
Just let it
be,
Yep.
and grieve with them,
Mm-hmm.
and love them in the ways that we can. Meaning, bring them food,
Yeah.
Offer
Yeah.
to, if they have other kids, offer to, babysit or take them out,
Distract him by going
yeah,
fishing.
yeah, or
Just
something,
something.
right? So, but to try to explain
Oh,
why that something that tragic happened.
that's another. Let's put God in this stupid man-made box.
Hmm. We do like to do that a lot.
One thing that I heard, I wish I knew who said it. I know where I heard it, but he's
Hmm.
not who said it. Was God is the name of the blanket we put over the energy to give
Interesting.
it a name.
Interesting.
Oh
Yeah.
no, to give it a form.
Form. Okay.
And it's like that tracked with me
Right.
in a big way. Like
Right.
as much as we can understand.
Hmm.
And every time I visualize that, I visualize a head and shoulders. Like,
Right.
you idiot. What are we
Right.
doing? Good Lord. Like, what are we
Right.
doing?
Well, we do. We like to personify God,
Yeah.
right? I mean, that's why God's the man up in the with
Yeah.
the beard and all that. Um,
And the God in my brain is Monty Python's God. With the stop motion mouth. Like, I can't not do it. If it turns human,
yes,
it's that.
I love it. Well, yeah.
It's dumb. And actually it shakes me out of that pretty
Right.
quickly.
Right.
Like if I get that, I'm like, oh, you're an
Right.
idiot.
No,
Like
I love it though.
that's a
Uh,
dumb image. Go
it's
back to the
good.
real thing, which is just this
uh,
nothing,
well,
nothing and everything.
well, and yeah, you think about even when Moses, the story of Moses when there was the burning bush,
Hmm.
and God was in the burning bush, and God was telling Moses to go and take the people and out of Egypt, and Moses says, "Well, who shall I say sent me?" And the Lord says, "Yahweh," right? And that really just means I am who I am, and I will be who I will be.
Hmm.
Which that's
Doesn't do anything.
that doesn't explain anything,
Yeah.
right? And our Jewish siblings, that is so holy that they won't say that when it comes. If they're reading scripture, they will substitute it for another name of the Lord, like El Shaddai or um, something like that. So they won't say that when it comes in scripture because it's so holy to them.
That's awesome.
Isn't that?
I like that.
Yeah, I do
That's
too. But I
beautiful.
like the fact that it's not God doesn't even define God's self, right?
No. Well, and if there was some noise
Mm-hmm.
or comprehensible thing,
Mm-hmm.
your brain would probably explode.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Like if it was like, here's me, poof, another dead one.
I know. That's
Come
right.
on.
I mean, we like to know things. We like to know sureties. But
Hmm.
the hard thing about, I think, being a person who is spiritual is that there's a lot I don't know. And that I ask questions
Yeah.
or I seek answers, but I'm not going to get definitive answers
Well,
on.
it's living
And
in the
that's okay.
question mark.
That's right. That's
But
right.
being open,
That's right.
like maybe today you get just a little more of a glimpse.
That's right. And there are days when I mean, we all do experience this. We might call it something different, but there are experiences we have that we see what I would call the God's presence. Jesus would call it the kingdom of God on earth, right? That that everything just came together, and that's how it was supposed to be, right? That people um, saw a need and really responded well. That kids sometimes, and always, I should say, almost, remind us of what we were created for, right? That we
Yeah.
were created for joy and laughter and to be in relationship with one another,
Yeah.
and so
And to
yeah,
create and to imagine.
and not be afraid to show what you've created
And
or
there's no
imagined.
no. There's no response.
There's no worrying about what are they going to think about me, or I can't do that, that's
Yeah.
silly, or I yeah. So
Oh,
yeah,
and it's almost like you buy the kid a Power Wheel, which we've
yeah,
done,
uh-huh.
and the box is more appealing.
Oh yeah, right,
The question mark
right,
of what could this be
right,
is more appealing.
right. Well, it's like the Legos have started now just making what they call their original sets
Oh
of
yeah.
like with no instructions of how to build
Yeah.
anything because they figured out, oh, kids like to have it,
Yeah.
and adults
Legos, you
too,
did it right,
right? Yeah, and
but
then
you included this book that nobody cares about.
that's right, exactly. So yeah, I mean, and so what would it be like if we were all able to live out of that that place of um, living with that question or those questions that we have, and trusting that we'll know what we will know, and that will be enough.
Yeah, being embraced or cradled
Yeah.
by the question.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I like that a lot.
Yeah.
I think that's an excellent spot. I think all of that was gorgeous.
Well, it's fun to talk with you about this because not, I think people have questions, but I think they're afraid sometimes that if they ask those questions, they will be looked at as unfaithful.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And to the confirmation you,
Mm-hmm.
like, yeah, there's faith there, but there's borderline no experience.
There's no experience, not a lot,
I
not
mean, yeah,
for
and
most eighth
like,
graders. Yeah.
yeah,
Right.
for the vast majority, yeah. And I know that there are kids that have been through things.
Yep.
I'm not
That's
trying
right.
to take that away,
Nope.
but for the vast majority,
Mm-hmm.
you have not been broken.
No. No.
And you say you love a God, which is a great thing to say.
That's right.
But let's see where that is, and it's
Right.
not a challenge. Like it's
No.
almost exciting.
It is.
Let's see what that faith
Right.
looks like
Right.
through death or loss or
Just life.
yeah, just grief,
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
We had a pup, Penny, who we only had for a year and a half. She was
Yeah.
a young little. She was a baby when we got her. She was
Uh-huh.
like as big as two of my fists,
Uh-huh.
and we're not 100% sure what happened,
Mm-hmm.
but she just over the course of like a month got terribly skinny,
Oh.
and then one morning, at 2 o'clock in the morning, I woke up. She was standing next to the bed looking at me, and I brought her up on bed with me, which she was a littler dog. She
Mm-hmm.
could spring up onto the bed, no
Mm-hmm.
problem. And I just scooped her up and put her next to me. And then Rachel had been sick that night. And so she was downstairs on the couch. And when I got up for work, I took Penny, put her next to Rachel,
Mm-hmm.
and then I got a call almost as soon as I got to work that something's wrong with Penny. And so we go home. I go home. Penny's not breathing well. She's in bad shape. We rush to the vet, and
Mm-hmm.
before we got to the vet, she was gone.
Oh.
Now, that's a horrible thing.
Mm-hmm.
And some people that aren't dog people don't
Get
care, but she was one of our babies,
Mm-hmm.
and she literally died in my arms.
Mm-hmm.
And she and Maya, our other dog,
Mm-hmm.
our first dog, were a perfect set.
Yeah.
And so like we were good. Two dogs, great,
Mm-hmm.
fine. The thing that I take out of that, though the moment was horrible,
Mm-hmm.
was that whatever was happening with Penny was happening
Mm-hmm.
regardless.
Yeah.
So she got a year and a half
Mm-hmm.
of us babying her,
That's right.
and she doesn't know that she had a short life.
No. She.
She knows that she had love.
Right.
She knows that up until the moment of her death,
Mm-hmm.
that she could curl up in somebody's arms
Mm-hmm.
and be loved.
That's right.
Ooh. And when Penny passed, of course, I went compartmentalized,
Mm-hmm.
right? And what's the next step and all that.
Right.
Rachel was emotionally killed.
Mm-hmm.
And no, I don't want another dog. I want
Right.
Penny back.
Right.
Well, 6 months later, we get Gemma. And then from that time,
Mm-hmm.
one, we're positive Gemma was handed to us
Right.
by Penny,
Right.
which is nuts. And then
You're
from
not
that
the only
time,
person I've heard say things like.
what's that?
You're not the only person I've heard say things like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, of
But-
course,
yeah, yeah,
because
yeah,
you're
yeah.
living in question marks.
Right. Right. Right.
And from that time, about once a year, there's another dog
Yeah, I've noticed that.
that gets
Yeah.
brought in.
Uh-huh.
And we're at 6 now.
Okay, I was going to ask, what's the total?
And 6, I think, is where we're done for a bit.
Uh-huh.
But Rachel and I have had this conversation. We're positive that Penny has. We wouldn't have gotten another dog if Penny was still around.
Right.
We wouldn't have.
Yeah.
And Gemma came from a hoarder situation.
Mm.
Pumpkin was found with a sibling running around as a puppy,
Uh-huh.
running around through fields and stuff.
Probably dumped out.
Yeah,
Country,
dumped
yeah.
somewhere and ignored. Mabel was a cruel trick played by her brother. They had a litter,
Uh-huh.
and he handed her one of them. And of course, that's done.
Yeah, don't even look, but don't touch.
Yeah, right.
That's
And don't name it,
yeah,
you
yeah.
moron. Uh, I don't remember Salem's story. Galaxy is from a hoarder situation.
Hmm.
So Gemma came out of a house with 27 other animals,
Right.
and it was like a trailer.
Yeah.
And I can't imagine. Gemma is the needy one. She
Okay.
has to know
Ah.
that you know she's there.
Right.
And obviously, that makes total sense.
Right.
Galaxy came out of a hoarder situation, and Winifred,
Hmm.
so there's 7 animals,
Hmm.
6 dogs. Winifred, our cat,
Hmm.
was thrown out of a
Oh,
car,
yeah. Okay. Yeah, I remember you
and
told
we
that
just
story.
happened to be driving by
Yep.
shortly after and scooped her up. I fully believe that we were meant to save them.
Hmm.
And however much of a life or however short of a life each one of them has,
Hmm.
I believe that they were meant to exist in our house.
Hmm.
And with our love
Hmm.
and with our caretaking
Yeah.
and through the worst, which was having Penny die in
Yes.
my arms, through the
Yes.
worst has
Yes.
come this amazing, stupid, annoying, pee outside, please
Yes.
blessing
Right.
that, you know, it is what it is.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you can either see it or you can't,
Yeah.
and you can accept it or you can't,
Yeah.
and it's true or it's not. It
Right.
is. And you take from it what you can.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, I think so often when yeah things happen to us, there's choices, right? There's all these choices, and um, the fact that you all could have just closed it off. You could have said, "We can't do this.
Mm-hmm.
We can't allow another animal to break our hearts like this
Yeah.
again."
Kale, my
Mm-hmm.
oldest, he's 14.
Mm-hmm.
Um, we were at the dining room table, which is rare that he was away from his computer, but
Mm-hmm.
we were, I don't know, waiting on food to get done. I don't remember what we were
Mm-hmm.
doing. But he was petting Maya, who is now 10 or 11 years old.
Mm-hmm.
She's real gray.
Mm-hmm.
Her eyes are getting milky,
Yeah.
you know? And he just said, he's very analytical. He's
Mm-hmm.
very in his brain.
Mm-hmm.
Um, he's really smart,
Mm-hmm.
but he's formulaic
Mm-hmm.
in the way that he thinks.
Mm-hmm.
And so, just very matter of factly, he said, I worry about Maya sometimes.
Okay.
And I said, because she's getting old? And he goes, yeah.
Uh-huh.
And I said, that's part of it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we don't bring them in
Right.
just for nothing but good.
Right.
We bring them in knowing full
The
well
whole thing. That's right.
that the end of this is going to be real rough for us,
Mm-hmm.
but it's going to be good.
Mm-hmm.
Like, all we did was spread good to her.
That's right.
And he's like, yeah, I, I just worry. And yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. And it sucks.
Yeah.
And you know, we've gone through it already a number of times,
Mm-hmm.
and we will go through it a number of times
Mm-hmm.
more.
Mm-hmm.
And it's all rough. We had a little funeral for Penny.
Mm-hmm.
We had a funeral for 2 cats that we had previous.
Mm-hmm.
And like every funeral I've ever been to,
Mm-hmm.
my goal was just tell a good story.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Like,
Mm-hmm.
what's the thing you remember?
Right.
What brought a smile?
Right.
You know, that type of thing. And I had the boys do that. I cried my eyes out over 2 cats, which I
Mm-hmm.
never thought was going to happen.
Right. Right.
But
Mm-hmm.
it's just about finding the joy and finding the love and
Right.
finding the light.
Right. Well, and that's how we connect, and that to me is how um, I like to think that everyone that we're at least close to, I'm not talking about just acquaintances and things, but people we're close to, they have enough impact on our life that when they are gone, they aren't just simply gone, right? When they die, they're not just gone,
Yeah.
um, and that we remember them, or things happen that cause us to remember them, or we start doing things that they used to do because they were good things, and so yeah, so I think everybody's so afraid of death in our culture. Um,
It is our culture.
it is. Oh yeah, definitely.
other cultures celebrate it.
Right.
Like
Well, it's a way of life.
congratulations
Oh yeah, that's
on
right.
your
Well, that's right. You're now you're gonna get to go be a cow or
yeah.
whatever,
Yeah.
if you're reincarnated and things like that, and or that's yeah. Uh, we just were afraid of death, and it's not the worst thing that can happen to a person, honestly, or an animal.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah, right?
yeah,
Oh yeah, that's real.
so,
It's the worst thing that happens to us.
yeah. So
Experiencing
that's
them
right.
going
Exactly.
dying.
It's right. It hurts like hell.
There's
Right.
a um I'm gonna get it wrong, but show Sherlock with Cumberbatch and
Yeah. Yeah.
Freeman.
Oh yeah. 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 Love that.
He says he's just kind of stream of consciousness. He goes,
Mm-hmm.
take your own life.
Mm-hmm.
Take it from whom?
Mm-hmm.
Once you're done with it, it doesn't affect you.
Right.
Your life is too important. Keep your hands off it
Right.
because everybody else is the one that gets to experience that.
That's right.
You're done.
You're done. That's right.
Everybody else is the one that gets to experience
Yeah,
that.
that was a great show. Yeah. Yeah.
And it's rough.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
All right. That was good. I like that.